It's not the first time that I had my voice stolen, but it definitely was going to be the last time. Welcome to the Lips and Language podcast. My name is Cola, where we talk about life, love, and language. Remember to subscribe, like, and share. Let's get into today's topic. Hey, y'all. So, welcome back. Welcome back. I know last week was a lot. I know last week was heavy. Well, if it wasn't heavy for you, it was definitely heavy for me. Like, I felt it. I felt just everything that I was speaking. That as I finished, I went and I prayed. And I was like asking one of my friends, I'm like, I need you to pray with me just because my mind was hurting. And it just shows that sometimes there's still, even on this healing journey, there's still more healing to do. And being mindful of it, being aware of it, makes it possible for you to continue receiving the freedom that you're walking in. And so, in kind of like a continuation, but also like a new topic of last week, I wanted to talk about voices, because unfortunately, when it comes to abuse, when it comes to trauma, when it comes to this type of situation, a lot of what happens is our voices are silenced. And we don't even realize it. But as I sat with this topic, as I sat with the idea, processing everything that happened to me, I really had to sit with the thought that my choice was taken from me. I had been, if you didn't watch last week's, you should watch it. But let me recap. I was in an on and off relationship for 11 years with who I believed to be a man. But I found out in 2018 that it was actually a woman the whole time, playing the role of assuming the role of this man, sending me pictures, deepening the voice, every single thing. And it left me in a state of confusion, because for me, I was like, well, I'm not attracted to women. That's not my preference. I'm not gay. And beyond like the church thing, it's just that's what I identified. I identified as somebody, as a woman who liked men. And this put me in a very peculiar situation where now I'm like trying to figure out how I didn't know, or like what lengths she had gone to deceive me, so that I had no clue that it was a woman. Now there's moments where I'm like, her voice was a little like higher, but like she also had a really deep voice at times, and so like you really couldn't, I really couldn't tell. And the point is, during that situation, I was put in a situation where I really didn't get the choice. The choice was taken from me. And I think back to the first time I was gang raped. That also was something taken from me. Or every single time I've been raped, my voice, my body, my everything have been violated. And the other person decided that they had a stronger voice than me, and theirs was the voice that won, which is not true. I have a strong voice. I have a bold voice. I am able to speak to myself. I wasn't speak for myself. I wasn't put on this earth to serve other people in that capacity, in that way. I wasn't put on this earth to be in bondage and to be a slave to other people. I wasn't put here just to answer to what everyone wants. Like, I was put here with my own unique personality, my own mind, my own characteristics, and a great love for people. And it was like everywhere I went, that love was threatened to be just dissolved and just dismantled. Because how do you love people so much and people are the ones who are consistently hurting you? It doesn't even make sense. I think it's an injustice to us as people when other people make decisions for us, when other people choose what they want over what we want. Now, in her explanation to me, part of it was that I was just so sad and she wanted to help and to be there, which all of that cool, I understand, but it was still not her choice to make. to enter into a false relationship with me, to enter into a relationship where, like, look at all the deception. Like, there was phone numbers and there was pictures and there was voice change. Like, there's so many levels of deception that had to happen to create this individual who I was then in a relationship with. I feel like at first I was mad because, like, because of the confusion it brought, I didn't know, like, I was really like, does this now make me gay? Like how does that work, right? And then what I realized is it was almost like the situation was trying to get me to be in agreement with the fact that, well, there's parts of that relationship that I enjoy, there's parts of it that I like, so I must like women. I must enjoy their company. I must enjoy being in a relationship with them because it wasn't a man this whole time. No matter how much she tried to push it, it wasn't a man. And trying to sift through it all. First of all, I had to go back to therapy because I was like, and when I went back, I was like, I don't know how to do this. Like, I really didn't know where to even begin, because it was like from the beginning it was a lie, from the very first conversation it was a lie, and all the lies that came after that to keep this thing a lie until the lie couldn't, like, after 11 years the lie couldn't lie no more, right? And I know we've heard stories of people in the transgender community who assume the identity of somebody else, man or woman, and they end up with a person who is considered straight, right? And they don't tell them because they're like, oh, they want them to like them for them and all the rest of it. Well, the truth is that's not who you are. If you want somebody to like you for you, you should like someone to want you for who you're identifying as. I hope that makes sense. If you're identifying as a woman but you were born a man, you should say, hey, this is the identity that I am associating with. Because what we've been seeing in the news and in social media is that there's people, transgendered people, who get involved and get in relationships with straight people, don't say anything, and when the straight people find out, they either go ballistic and cause harm, or it just leaves a lot of confusion. It's not their right to take away somebody's voice. It's not their right to take away someone's consent to being in this relationship. Like, for me, it is as bad as rape. If you are a person who gets into a relationship with somebody and you don't tell them who you actually are, who you identify as, or whatever the situation is, you're not allowing that person the ability to say yes or no. You're removing their consent, and therefore everything you do after that is by force. Everything you do is by rape, in my opinion. If you tell somebody this is who you are, this is who you identify, this is what you're walking in, and they say cool, that's up to you. Now, up to God is a whole other story. Like, don't even get me started. Like, God is different than society. We know this. But we're really just talking about consent and our voice. Our voices are important. And it's the fear in people, the fear of being rejected, the fear of being abandoned, that they don't tell people. Because truly, if you really thought that it really doesn't matter because you're this way and you should be accepted, you would have no problem telling somebody who you are and allowing them to accept you for that person, right? Had she told me she was a woman, would I have gone along with it? No. Because that wasn't my preference. That wasn't what I was into. And so, being so young, being a new mother, being a teenager, my brain was still developing. I was still going through so much trauma. Like, I was still, working my way through things. And there's so much destruction that was added to my life unknowingly because I entered into a relationship under false pretenses. All the toxic things that came after it, all the, like, the thing is, as much as we try to run away, as much as society tries to run away from, they want to change genders, they want to be somebody else, your DNA how you were made is innately male, innately female. You can take on the persona of another person. You can take on the attitude. You can take on the rest of it. But there's certain things about how God created you biologically that cannot be changed. Certain demeanors, certain traits that God made men to have, certain traits that God made women to have. No matter how you try to mislabel yourself, relabel yourself, or come out of it, it does not work. When I look back at the relationship, I'm like, oh yeah, there was many feminine things that she did, although she presented as a man. There was many things that I could have taken, I probably could have seen for differently, but we're in a society where we're like, oh, we don't want to judge men for being too feminine. We don't want to get at them for being too masculine. Like, you know what I'm trying to say? Like in society, we have all these rules that, like, if one is to one side or to the other, we're like, yo, just leave them alone. Don't judge them. Leave them. Let them be. But the thing is, when we don't judge people, when we don't judge the situations at hand, we end up putting ourselves into very harmful situations. That's what I was in. I was in a harmful, toxic situation because I refused to properly judge what was going on. Properly, as in seeing the red flags, seeing the fruits of the spirit, seeing not just the voice, but seeing the traits behind it, the aggressiveness or the gentleness. Like, for example, I was telling my friend today that when I started learning about periods, it was him who taught me about my period mostly. My mom had taught me a little bit, but like he mostly taught me a lot more about having a period and then all the rest of it as a female. And it was so weird to me. It was so odd. I'm like, how does he know so much about periods? Well, he would say, oh, it's because I had some sisters. I have a lot of sisters around me. I'm around a lot of women, so I just get it. I'm a man who's just sensitive to it. And you're thinking, oh, okay, that makes sense logically. Only to find out that she knew so much about periods because she was a woman and she had her own periods. You know what I'm saying? Like, little things like that I didn't take in at the moment. Because who's really thinking, back then at least, who's really thinking that people are going around changing themselves? Like, as this has come out more and more over the years, people have been like, oh, we actually have to be more vigilant in the people that we talk to because you never really know. But back then, when this was happening to me, it wasn't a thing that we were really talking about out loud and in the public. And so I didn't have the resources to know or to think or to, if anything, I would have thought that it was just like an uglier man or something. You know what I'm saying? Like someone who might have just been like, yes, I got the pictures and he was beautiful, the pictures that I got. But when you're thinking of like catfishing, you're thinking, okay, you know what? It's probably just a man who's just really insecure about how he looks, about the things he's got going on. And, like, that's why things are going this way. That's why he doesn't want to be in camera. That's why it's so hard for you guys to meet up and the rest of it. I'm not thinking, oh, it's because she's a woman. It's a whole other gender. And I really dislike that I had no say. There's nothing I can do now. There's nothing I can do to change it. But if there's anything I can do is to speak to the next generation, is to be mindful. Is to truthfully be mindful. I'm speaking to the ones who may be victims, and I'm also speaking to the ones who are doing this. Deception is never going to end in your favor. Especially if the person prays, especially if the person is a child of God. Deception will never end in your favor because God will always expose. Now, it took a while for me because I was a little stubborn-headed and I got a lot of things going on, but eventually the truth came out. Eventually, everything was revealed, and it left me devastated because I didn't know how to handle it. I didn't know what to do at that moment, in that time. I didn't know how to process if I was gay or not because I didn't feel gay. And I know gay is not just a feeling, but at the time I was like, I'm still not attracted to women. Like, having this revelation doesn't make me feel like, oh, okay, now I want women. I was more upset that I'm like, I was tricked into being with a woman. And then I was thinking of all the times we had phone sex and all this other stuff. And I was like, dang, I was really, I mean, that tripped me out for a little bit. Because I'm like, there was one time I had, if you hear my threesomes podcast, I was talking about how I was having threesomes with my boyfriend at the time and this girl. Come to find out, she was playing both roles. How? How was I having sex with one person what, like splitting their voice on the phone. Like, these are the things that were going through my mind. These are the things that, now mind you, if I just sat my little tail down and followed the way that Jesus said, I wouldn't have been in awkward threesomes. But we're beyond that. When you dive into sexual immorality and the rest of it, sometimes you get caught with surprises, and boy, was that a surprise to me. Like, it hurt my brain physically to think of what I had gotten myself unintentionally caught in, and then thinking about the fact that I was the only party of this relationship that didn't know what was going on. The other side knew. The other side was very aware of what was going on and chose to not reveal that to me, chose to keep it to themselves, chose to, no matter how much times that she wanted to tell me, in the end, it's the fact that she didn't tell me. In the end, it's the fact that this went on for so long. And it's crazy because at one point she's like, oh, she kept feeling like something, like the secret was gonna bust, and tried to do crazier and crazier things to make me leave. Instead of just telling me, like, tried to do things to force me to leave. And my little ride or die self was like, yo, we're in this. And so, it really just, in the end, it didn't end. I mean, I guess you could say it ended fine in a sense where we're cool now, but that situation, like I said, had me wanting to take my life, and it could have ended way worse for me, the person on the other side of it, the person that it was done to, than the person who was the one doing all of it. People don't think about the consequences of their actions. They just think about the pleasures, what matters to them now, what's happening in that moment, what they want, what they need, well, all of that, right? And if you really stop to think about the other person and the consequences and what if this doesn't go the way you're thinking, then you'd have a little bit more sense to know that it's not okay to take away someone's consent. The same way you wouldn't like someone to take away your voice. And you know what, to be honest, that's a lot of these people, that's probably what happened to them. At some point in time, somebody silenced them, somebody ignored them, somebody didn't want to hear what they had to say. They were probably trying to tell somebody that they're feeling different, that they're confused, and all this stuff is going on, and nobody wanted to listen. They've been through violence, and nobody wanted to listen. They're going through changes, and nobody wanted to listen. But listen to what I'm saying. It does not make it okay to take away someone's voice. It does not make it okay to put someone in a position where now they are forced to think. Now they are forced to rattle their minds and figure out, what do you do with the leftover pieces? How do you pick up the pieces from here? How do you change what happened? And you can't change it. I can't change not one moment of it. The only thing I can do is learn to live with it. It's to learn to forget. Well, I've already forgiven, but at the time I had to learn to forgive. I had to learn to release the parts of me that were so hurt and so bound. I had to rebuild my voice. And how do I rebuild my voice? Well, I had to reestablish my foundation. I have a strong foundation in God. Who has God created me to be? He's created me to be a woman. What are my preferences? I like men. I love men. Oh, men are beautiful. Those are my preferences. Those are the things that I'm after. Those are the things that bring me joy, right? Having a relationship with God brings me peace. Wanting to have children someday, that is all wrapped up in things that I love to do. Reestablishing that is all true and that can still happen. I have a bold voice. That was the last time somebody will ever take my voice from me. That is the last time someone will ever speak for me. That is the last time or someone will ever have one over on me, in a sense of, I just didn't know what was going on because I didn't pay attention to the signs. Now, at this point, I'm like, God, I need you to run my life because clearly I am not doing a great job of it. Like, I need to surrender everything to you. I need to ask you for everything. Not that I should already be in a position, heart posture, where I'm telling God everything. But now I'm like, no, I really tried to run it myself, and I did not do that well. How do I end up in an 11-year relationship on and off with a woman and have no clue about it? I was so detached from life. I was so numb to what was going on around me. I was so caught up in my own drama and just enjoying the company of other people that I really didn't see what was going on. And yeah, that's on me. But it's also on the person. It's also on the responsibility of the person. That when you present yourself honestly. You present yourself with happiness. You present yourself with confidence. That is for you to do. Confidently stand up for who you are, for who God has made you to be. I'm not saying that when you're what do you call it? I'm not saying that when you identify with your sexual identity or the gender that you're calling yourself, they, them, that. I'm not saying show up confidently as that. I'm saying show up confidently as who God made you to be. You were born this, but at the moment you're walking in this, if that's what you want to say. Because what I know is when you have a relationship with God, He will eventually start to change, start to transform, start to speak to you, speak love into your life, speak the love over you that you've been missing, speak the love that you haven't gotten from other people, speak the love that you so are in need of. Because if you had so much love for yourself, you wouldn't be out here trying to trick other people. You would just, this is me. But because there's so much confusion, because there's so much insecurity, because there's so much people feeling worthless, they're walking around tricking. They're walking around in deception. They're walking around with a false sense of identity. And we need to get back to who we're meant to be. We need to get back to who God called us to be. We need to get back to walking in love. When you love somebody, you don't lie to them. When you love somebody, you don't walk in falsehood. When you love somebody, you want the best for them. And the best is always going to be the truth. You can't want the best and you lie. You can't want the best and you're keeping them bound to a secret that they have no clue that they're bound to. We need to be out here setting people free. We are not bondages. We're not slaves to labels, to things and society. We're not slaves to them. We are our own people. We are royal priesthood. We are covered by God. We are loved by an amazing Father. We are a nation that walks in peace, love, freedom. We are people who surrender some of our biggest desires to God and watch what He does with them. We are not meant to live a life of silence. We're not meant to live a life with our voice taken from us. We're not meant to live a life without the truth resonating in us. And so take a look at your life. Take a look at all the times that you've lied, all the times that you walked in deception, all the times that you have made someone to feel really small, all the times that you've silenced someone else's voice, all the times that you have made yourself bigger than them. And then also take a look at all the times that that's been done to you. When has people made you feel small? When has people made you feel silent? When have people made you feel like you didn't have any control in your life? And ask yourself, is that roots why you are the way you are today? Gay, straight, transgendered, anything. It's not, the things that I'm talking about are not just specific to one community. I'm highlighting a situation I went through, but it's not specific. There's men who make women feel small. There's loud women who make men feel like they have no voice and they devalue them. We have to be a people who values the voices in other people, who values what other people say, who values the truth coming out. That is not just loud noise. That is not just the loudest in the room gets the attention, but wisdom. Let wisdom speak. When wisdom speaks, there is no room for confusion. And so, I pray that my message was clear today. You have a voice. Use it. Use it in a powerful way. We have the ability to decree powerful things in this earth. We have the ability to walk mightily in this earth as long as we align it with what God wants, with what God said, with what's said in the Bible, what we're in alignment with what belongs to our Creator. We're just giving back to Him a piece of what He gave to us. So, choose wisely, speak confidently, and never be afraid. We'll talk soon. Bye. What would it look like if we were a people that were healed? What would it look like if we were people that believed in doing the work necessary to remove trauma, to get through grief, and to come out on the other side? Man, we think that therapy is the only way. Therapy is a great way, but there's also a creative way that can help us get through this process. My name is Kola. I am an amazing artist, and I have a program called Restore and Embrace Myself. It is all about the healing and the getting through and the getting over. And if nobody told you, you are special and you are so deserving of so much more in this world. So get in contact with me because I'd love to work with you.